Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. Today's video is the second chapter of the Business Marketing Analysis Beginner's Guide, which will describe how to apply correlation coefficient analysis to identify the relationships between various business and market factors. As we experienced in Chapter 1, sales performance in a food category was strongly influenced by seasonality. As most of you may have guessed, this food category showcases chocolate products. That is why it has a higher demand from fall to winter, especially in February with St. Valentine's Day, and much less in summer. Thus, when analyzing a dataset containing various factors, it is important to understand how those variables are related and influence each other. Then, the next question is which other factors besides seasonality might affect such sales results. There are some approaches to examine this, but here, I highlight correlation coefficient analysis as the most convenient statistical technique. The basic principles of correlation coefficient are: if some relationship can be seen between the variables, it is considered as there is a correlation. If not, it is determined as there is no correlation. Then, in the case of there is a correlation, you must address the two issues. Is that a positive or negative correlation? And is that a strong or weak correlation? Let us see the correlation patterns in scatter plots. Firstly, the left graph shows a positive pattern while a negative one looks like the right one. And in the case of no correlation, there is no directional tendency for positive or negative. Secondly, even if there is a positive or negative correlation, the degree of strength differs by how the data plots appear. In other words, the correlation strength is determined by how many data plots are closer to the straight line in the middle. In sum, the correlation coefficient makes it possible to index the degree of associations among all variables in a large dataset by converting them to average deviation data. Also, it helps us identify such trends of associations by creating numerical coefficient values. The value of correlation coefficient ranges from -1 to +1, which means that the highest absolute value is 1.0. On the other hand, the lowest value becomes 0, meaning that the variables are completely uncorrelated. For your reference, here is the formula for calculating Pearson correlation coefficient. Please do not worry at all. You can do this calculation automatically by using the Excel function. Also, you can create the correlation coefficient matrix from the Excel Data and Analysis menu. This is a much easier way to review the correlation coefficients among all variables by one-time procedure. Now, here are rough hypotheses from the example of correlation coefficient matrix. Variable 3 has the strongest correlation with sales value, followed by variable 1 and 2. These three variables are correlated with each other and therefore have a high potential to impact sales performance. Also, there may be a possibility of influence by variables 4, 5, 6, and 8, which show some correlation with sales or variable 1. Please note that these are only hypothetical thoughts without sufficient clear evidence. You must explore more statistical evidence to verify whether they are true or false. Finally, here are some watch-outs when you deal with the correlation coefficient analysis. Number 1. Correlation coefficients can only show straight-line relationships and cannot handle curvilinear trends except for power or logarithmic approximation. Number 2. The overall correlation trend may be misinterpreted when multiple groups have automatic interactions. For example, in the below graph, if you combine groups A and B, The overall correlation becomes almost uncorrelated by not reflecting the trends specific to either A or B. Number 3. When multiple groups have similar correlation trends but significantly different average values, they should not be treated as a single group. To avoid those problems, I recommend frequently reviewing both the coefficients and the discrepancy levels in the magnitude of actual data values. That's all for today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them in the comments section on our YouTube channel. In the next video, we will discuss specific approaches for how to assess company and brand power against the key competitors in the market landscape. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for watching.